Hi beautiful people, this video is about the characteristics of high-functioning teams. I'm doing a number of videos in this series and we're going to do a deep dive into how to understand and begin to design and to begin to look at what are the characteristics and practices of high-functioning teams. We're going to name some of the observable behaviors of high-functioning teams that truly distinguish them from teams that are just coping or doing their best or pushing themselves or burning out or getting by. This isn't about vague culture goals. I think if you've listened to any of my other videos, you know I'm not really all about vague culture goals. It's about concrete practices that really allow us to be able to build trust, to move with speed, and to deliver on satisfaction at scale. In my career, which has been long and probably a lot longer than yours, I have had the privilege of working on a number of high-functioning teams. And I've also built high-functioning teams, teams that are able to laugh at themselves. And one of my teams actually named themselves the Island of Misfit Toys. So we made the team function well enough, even though the team saw themselves as a motley crew of slightly crazy people, but we did some incredible things. So in the video, what I want to explore with you is what high-functioning teams really do differently, how they handle misalignment and breakdowns, particularly when they're under pressure, and then the invisible architecture that allows them to outperform others without burnout. There are a number of questions that I'm sure you're asking yourself at this point, particularly if you are researching to understand high-functioning teams better and with a view to building one yourself, or with a view to changing the team that you're on and helping them become a high-functioning team. Or you're just super frustrated with the team that you're working on and you're looking to be able to make a move and you want to be able to move to somewhere where you will be joining a high-functioning team, but you need a lot more in-depth understanding of what that looks like in order to be able to find one and interview for one. So big question that people ask is, how do high-functioning teams stay calm in chaos? How do they build what I refer to as executional fluency, where it's not burnout effort on a constant basis, but there is a fluidity and a resilience and an understanding and a shared language that the team has built that allow them to really be able to work together effectively. If you really want to see whether or not a team is really high functioning, I would suggest that you look at how they design their requests to each other. Now, by that I don't mean that you go look at the entire project plan or that you even assume that the project plan is actually a request. What I would look at is you sit in a meeting and you see how they engage with each other to get work done. You see how one individual will make a request of another team lead to be able to get something done, and see how they engage in that conversation with each other. If they're blasting through that and they're not really having that design conversation together, then what you're seeing is a team who is focused on immediately jumping into performance and getting things done, and who are missing the critical importance of the design element of any request that comes in the team, particularly if the team are building something that is effectively net new and they are doing a lot of innovation as part of their project. One of the key things that I've consistently seen with high-functioning teams in terms of the characteristics that they demonstrate is that they have executional awareness. So they have built a shared language and practices, maybe over time, or they are in the process of building them and they have an awareness of them, and they recognize when somebody is in a position where they're not able to negotiate, when someone is in a position where they're going to get blamed for declaring that they've made a mistake, or where someone is going to be disparaged because they came up with a crazy idea that other people didn't at first understand. And so what we're looking for is we're looking for an executional awareness, an understanding of what really moves work along, and an understanding of when things break down or don't work, how do we respond beyond doing analysis paralysis, beyond blame and shame, beyond shouting matches, beyond punting it to the next team. So how do they deal with getting stuff done not in a micromanagement and control way, but in an effective doing the dance of working together way. So I'd be remiss when I'm talking about high functioning teams if I didn't talk about the wonderful work that Lancioni did in terms of his 5 core dysfunctions of a team. So he wrote a book called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, very appropriately named, and he identified the 5 dysfunctions of a team powerfully. And he said, absence of trust, fear of conflict, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to results. Lots of people will look at those and go, well, they're people problems. I look at those and I go, that's a coordination problem. Because if we say it's a people problem, what we're saying is we're saying that people are refusing to have important conversations with each other, that they are dodging commitment because they're lazy, that they are avoiding accountability because they want to dump it on someone else, or they're not paying attention to the results because they don't care. So if we're looking at what Lancioni put forward as the 5 dysfunctions of a team, we need to recognize that it's not just people problems, it's the environment and the structure that people are working in. It is what I refer to as the execution layer. If we don't have a deep understanding of execution, and I don't mean just you as the team leader, or you as one person on a team, I mean it as a shared understanding that is common across the org. One of my clients was asked at one point, well, what did Jennifer do with your team? What made it different that she was doing? And her response was, she helped us build shared language around execution. So when I talk about, and I've spoken about this in a lot more depth in other videos, but when I talk about functional teams, I'm looking at teams that are able to do this coordination and this execution that we've talked about before. The other characteristic that I see with high functioning teams is that there are a number of people, maybe the majority of the team, who recognize that they are customers for something in the work. And that might be at the highest level where the lead is the customer who is responsible for the overall success of the project. But down at the individual contributor level, there's also customers who are responsible for making sure that other people deliver effectively to them. The most important thing I've seen with this customer role, this notion of having an internal customer, is that there is a person who understands what satisfaction looks like, who understands what definition of done looks like at their level for their particular piece of work that they are responsible for, that they are leading, or that they are asking to be done. And the importance of that is that means that they are also, ideally, committed to being satisfied. Now, if you have a customer who is not committed to being satisfied, then you are playing this endless game of what if, what if, what if. High functioning teams do not play that game because that is an absolute waste of time, and it erodes trust and it erodes identity, particularly for the people at the more junior levels where they are not necessarily experienced or confident enough in their own understanding of what satisfaction might look like. So having a customer who's committed to being satisfied, and having customers up and down the organization and across the org who are committed to being satisfied and understand what that means for them, and are committed to designing that with the people who they are asking to do the work, or who they are collaborating with to do the work. That simple shift in terms of we know what it is that we're looking to do. We don't know exactly how we're going to do it. We don't know all the nuances of it. It might be a little bit of a moving target, but we are committed to be satisfied in terms of we are going to understand how to be able to talk about it, how to be able to deliver on it, how to be able to define it, and how to be able to change and morph that definition over time if we need to. That I have found is an absolutely critical element of a highly functioning team. The other thing that I found, and I'll touch on some of the other aspects in other videos, but another thing that I have found that's really important is the ability to be able to repair breakdowns. So I've talked in other videos about the importance of understanding the difference between someone making a mistake, someone doing something wrong, and a breakdown happening. So many times when something goes wrong, we'll look for someone to blame because that's how we've been trained, that's what we've been kind of brought up to understand is the right thing to do. And what we're missing there is we're missing the understanding that people make mistakes all the time. You've made mistakes. I've made thousands of mistakes. People make mistakes all the time. They don't do it with malice or bad intent. They do it because people make mistakes. It's just a fact of life. And if we start looking for someone to blame as a result of that, what we're going to do is we're going to create dysfunction within the team. If instead we recognize that breakdowns happen and we're able to have sophisticated conversations to repair those breakdowns, our ability to be able to recognize that mistakes happen and move forward is really critical to contributing to a highly functioning team. Now, if people are making consistent mistakes around the same things, then you need to have a development and growth conversation. But if you're just having a breakdown conversation, that's an acceptance that breakdowns happen, that people make mistakes, that we don't need to blame anyone, that we're looking for people to step up and take more responsibility, and that we're having a conversation around a breakdown. That allows us to be able to do clear negotiation and really fast repair, and it moves the energy of the team forward really quickly. There are many other critical elements of high functioning teams, and I have explored them in a couple of other videos. But for this one, if you found this valuable and interesting, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If it piqued your interest, there's lots more on this channel you can explore, but also there's a white paper that I think would be very valuable for you at this point, which is my execution by design white paper. It's available on my website, which is www.jenniferkenny.com/execution. It's free, it's yours. I'd love you to read it. I'd love you to let me know what you think about it. There's also a link down in the comments. Once you've had a look at it, let me know what you think about it and let me know whether or not this helps you build a high-functioning team or join a high-functioning team, because I would love that for you. It is a fantastic work experience and I wish it for everyone out there. I wish you the best of luck. Take care.